Okay, we are live. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Gordon Frayne. As always, if you enjoy the content, please make sure to smash that thumbs up button below, hit subscribe, hit that bell notification icon. And as always, you've got a completely free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin waiting for you in the description below this video. If you've got questions, drop them in the chat. Keston, I can see you in there. Appreciate you jumping on to see what is happening. So I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin and what has been going on here in the markets over the past few days. And if we take a look at Bitcoin's chart specifically, what we're seeing is Bitcoin currently sitting just below $94,500. We had a little bit of a pullback here over the weekend. And again, we've been looking at this global M2 liquidity index and the rise of Bitcoin over the course of the past few weeks. Interestingly, with this 85-day offset, you can see that there is a little bit of a pullback in global M2 for a maybe 5 to 7 day period here. It's looking like that is playing out at the moment. Again, you can argue that there's lots of different ways and offsets that we can use global M2 liquidity, but it is pulling back a little bit over the past few days. Maybe we're finding a bottom here at the moment. Maybe we need to go a little bit lower, but the key level I'm looking for here on the chart is for us to hold on the daily level above this 96,000, this kind of 93,600 level. So this level of support that we got up to here has held on multiple occasions over the course of the past 7 to 10 days. So I'm looking for that level to hold here as we move throughout the rest of today. Again, we do have 6.5 hours until the close of today's daily candle. Let's see what happens over the course of the next few hours, but that is the level I'm looking for Bitcoin to hold with this pullback. If we can hold as support and continue to consolidate, hopefully we could see Bitcoin making a move back to the upside if this level holds. So again, let's see what happens. We have a few more hours on this daily, and hopefully we can continue to consolidate at this level over the next few days. Bitcoin dominance has been increasing over the past couple of weeks as well. We've continued to march even higher. We're currently sitting at 64.77%. But if we zoom in here on the daily, we actually just touched the 65% level on Saturday, 2 days ago, with Bitcoin dominance. This was a new high for this particular cycle. If we zoom out to the weekly chart again for a moment, you can see what's been going on here. We had Bitcoin continuing to march up here over the course of the past couple of years. I've got this level marked in at around 65.67% on the weekly as this key level of resistance that we had all the way back in November of 2020. And if we were to come up and hit that and even break through it, we could see Bitcoin dominance continuing to move on towards this 70% level. So again, we need to see what happens, but we have plenty of speculation over the coming weeks to see if Bitcoin can get up all the way to 70% before we see a proper drawdown in Bitcoin dominance. Remember, last time in 2021, this sharp move to the downside for Bitcoin dominance, this was your altcoin season. It was a very dramatic breakdown for the course of 2 quarters, January through May of 2021. We saw a very strong and sharp breakdown in Bitcoin dominance. This was your altcoin season. We would need to see something similar playing out to really confirm an altcoin season for this cycle. Again, you could argue maybe we won't see a breakdown in Bitcoin dominance quite as aggressive as last cycle. Let's see what happens. I think it may not be quite as aggressive a move. I do think we will get some form of altcoin season though. Last time around, we did also look at ETH BTC for what's happening in terms of ETH being a leading indicator for that altcoin season actually kicking off. And again, we're looking at the weekly chart here, but ETH has been completely underperforming Bitcoin for the past couple of years. We can see that clearly on the chart with this move to the downside since these highs back on September of 2022. But it looks like we might be finding a bottom in this area. We did wick down pretty close to this level of support here at the 0.1 level all the way back here, seeing that support holding in December and January of 2019, December 2019, January 2020, and also in August of 2019. So we haven't been this low for the ETH to Bitcoin ratio chart since all the way back in 2019. That is a 6-year time frame. We have not been this low. We didn't even get that low during the course of the last cycle. You can see that we got a big move for Ethereum. And again, this was your altcoin season. Ethereum breaking out here from these lows at the 0.17 level on the ETH BTC ratio chart, moving in from this level in December 2020 all the way up to these highs by the time you got to May of 2021. This was your altcoin season. Again, we need to wait and see what happens with ETH potentially getting a bounce here. On the weekly, it's looking like we could be having a little bit of a bottoming pattern forming. But the other chart I'm looking at, and Benjamin Cohen brings this up pretty frequently, is altcoins against Bitcoin. So this is total 3 minus the market caps of USDT and USDC stablecoins divided by Bitcoin. And again, on the weekly chart here, we might have a little bit further to the downside for alts against Bitcoin priced in Bitcoin terms before we see a true bottoming and a true bounce. Again, if we look back at these key levels of support on the chart here, you can see we have support coming in September 19, December 19, again in May of 2020. We did have it breaking below here in December of 2020. This was your altcoin season move. Once again here on the chart, a huge move to the upside for total 3 against Bitcoin. But you can see that we're not quite down at the levels we got to back in 2019 and 2020 with that alt versus Bitcoin ratio chart. So the argument being made is that maybe we need to come a little bit lower here with the price action, come into this area of support before we get a larger bounce and move to the upside for alts against Bitcoin. Again, I'm watching this chart every day. I'm watching it pretty closely, and there is a good argument to be made for this to play out over the next couple of weeks, especially if Bitcoin dominance continues to move higher. And it hasn't slowed down in doing that. We are seeing it put in fresh all-time highs in the past 3 days for this cycle. And if Bitcoin dominance continues to march to the upside, it is only natural that you will see alts continue to bleed out a little bit further against Bitcoin, making a move possibly down into this zone before that larger move to the upside. Again, nothing is guaranteed here, guys. Nothing in this video is financial advice, but make sure you keep an eye on these charts, keep an eye on what's happening with assets that you're holding in your portfolio. Let me know in the comments if there's any specific charts you want me to take a look at here. Vipin, I see you in the chat. Appreciate you jumping on. Vipin or Keston, if there's any specific charts, or if there's anyone else in here who wants to look at a specific chart or a specific asset, drop it in the comments. Let me know, and I'll take a quick look at it. Otherwise, looking at Ethereum, we're seeing ETH back above 1800. It's good to see ETH holding at this level. We've obviously had a move up since these $1,400 lows, and ETH is having a nice bit of consolidation here over the past week to 7 to 10 days, I suppose. Hopefully we can consolidate here before making another move to the upside. Again, Bitcoin getting back up above 94.5 here on today's candle and pushing higher. We did get as low as 93.7 earlier today. We do have the S&P actually a little bit lower than we were this time on Friday. And so we need to wait and see what happens with the S&P, but Bitcoin outperforming the S&P today again with the daily move thus far. Again, we do have another 6 hours happening here, but many of the major alts are kind of in this consolidation period. If we look at Solana as well, we can see we're back up close to $146. We went as low as 142, 143 on today's daily candle. Again, nice consolidation pattern or period happening here over the course of the past couple of weeks. Let's see if we can consolidate here to make a move higher in the next couple of weeks as well. And SUI had a massive breakout. We've seen SUI run much higher here over the past couple of weeks, getting up as high as $3.85. Interestingly, you can see we've come right down to test the 200-day simple moving average. I was expecting that to happen after breaking up to these $3.50 levels. We've come right down, retesting the 200-day, getting a bounce off of it, and we're back up to $3.43 as of right now. Let's see if this can hold. Again, we do have 6 hours until the close of this daily candle for SUI as well, but things are looking good. Again, I think if we can get some agreements, maybe in terms of trade deals with the US, there's lots of cooperation happening with India from what I'm seeing in reports. Maybe that is the leverage the US wants to use to strike a better deal with China. If they can get India on side and indicate that India is going to become a preferred partner for certain aspects of manufacturing, it might bring China to the table to have further discussions and come to some sort of agreement. I think talking about the bigger picture here, you're looking at a 90-day freeze, which brings us up to about the 7th or 8th of July for the freeze on those tariffs. If we can get some agreements in place before then, it might be interesting to see what happens in terms of the markets. Okay, over to this week, we've got an FOMC meeting happening here on the 7th of May in just 2 days. However, it's looking like we're not getting a rate cut. 97% probability we keep rates where they're at right now. 2% chance that we actually get a rate cut here in 2 days' time. If we project that forward to June 18th, interestingly, this number has changed over the past couple of weeks. This likelihood of a rate cut by the June meeting on June 18th was actually sitting up between 40 and 60% just a week or two ago. You can see that's actually pivoted and changed to a 70% chance that we do not also get a rate cut in June. So this is the market pricing in lots of different things happening with tariffs, with sentiment, with the S&P bouncing back up over the past couple of weeks. The likelihood of that rate cut happening by the 18th of June also getting priced out, and seeing a 70% likelihood that we do not get a rate cut by June. Again, a lot of things can happen between now and June. You actually have Trump calling for Jerome Powell and the Fed to make rate cuts. So let's see what happens there. But if we project forward to the end of July, it does actually look like we will get a rate cut by the end of July. You can see the probability of one rate cut by July is above 56%, and the probability of 2 rate cuts by that 30th of July deadline FOMC meeting is currently sitting around that 20% mark, with 23% chance that we still don't get rate cuts by July. Again, that is still a long time away. Lots of things can happen between now and then over the course of the next few weeks. So let's see what happens in the markets. It's going to be an exciting week with the FOMC meeting, with Bitcoin continuing to consolidate between this $93,000 and $96,000 area. Personally, I think if we can continue to consolidate in this zone a little bit longer, it might give us permission to begin creeping and inching even higher. Global M2 liquidity has been rising. We know that Bitcoin has been following it. So I think there is some positives we can take away from all of that. The final thing here, guys, is I am helping a bunch of different clients over in the UIG community. If you're interested in taking your DeFi liquidity provision skill set to the next level, jump over to the UIG. Check out the link in the description below this video. Again, not financial advice, always do your own research, but there is a full free course in the UIG that you can take. So even if you're a complete beginner in DeFi, there's a completely free course you can take. You can sign up for the UIG as well. We're working with hundreds of fast track clients who are deploying millions of dollars in liquidity into DeFi, generating free cash flow and earning yield every hour, every day, every week. So if you want to take back financial control of your own future, check out what's happening at the UIG with the link in the description below. Again, there's a completely free course. Don't feel pressured into it. If you want to learn more, head over there, check it out. I'm always here if you have questions. And if you want to join the UIG itself, drop me a comment below this video. I do have a discount code that I can give you for joining the UIG. So drop a comment below the video if you want the discount code, and if you want to jump in and get tons of value with everything happening in terms of DeFi liquidity provision. That's it for today, guys. Again, as always, if you enjoyed the content, please make sure to give it a thumbs up below before you leave the live stream. Give it a thumbs up. It would mean the world to me if you did. It helps to spread the good word. I want to keep growing the channel. So if you have ideas or topics you want to hear more about on these live streams, then please do drop a comment below the video as well. I want to gather that feedback. I want different topics that you guys want to see in terms of what's happening in Bitcoin and the markets. Let me know below. Again, you've got a completely free copy. If you're a complete beginner in Bitcoin and you don't know anything about crypto, get the book. It's completely free. You literally are going to get an A to Z introductory overview about Bitcoin and crypto. And even if you're someone who knows a good bit about the industry already, I think you'll get some value out of the book. So grab it in the description below. You're going to get a PDF copy completely free. It's my gift to you. Let me know what topics you want to see, and we'll catch you in the next one.